Hi, I'm Dr. David Brown. I am the president of the King James Bible Research Council, but I'm also the curator of the Biblical Heritage Archive Museum. I am a dealer for rare Bibles and books and Bible pages, in fact. And today we're going to have a very interesting conversation about what's called the Geneva Bible. So let's go and look at another video from the History Channel.
This is the Geneva Bible. It's a Protestant Bible printed in the year 1583.
King Henry basically decided that he wanted a divorce and they wouldn't give it to him, so he basically ended Catholicism in England and started his own religion because he hated his wife that much.
Men have been known to do a lot of things for women.
Yeah, I can't imagine hating somebody that much.
It's a little interesting what they're talking to Corey about. Henry VIII did get rid of Catherine, and he wanted to marry Anne Boleyn, ultimately did, but the Bible that was in circulation there had nothing to do with the Geneva Bible at that point. It happened to be a Tyndale Bible.
It's a really fascinating relic of history and an important book. So I'm asking $1,600. I mean, every copy is unique, and I think that's a reasonable and fair price for it.
The Geneva Bible, the first Geneva Bible, the New Testament came out in 1557, but this is the Geneva Bible, the first Geneva Bible. It's 1560, the whole Bible. But what is interesting about the Geneva Bible, that this is a Bible of firsts. As we open up the Bible here, this is the first Bible that has verse divisions. It's the first time there was a John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Before that, there was chapter divisions that were put in by Stephen Langton. But this man, Robert Stephanus, this is a 1549 Greek New Testament, and Stephanus, also known as Estine, he was a printer in Paris, but the Catholics only wanted him printing the Latin Bible, but he was printing a revision of Erasmus's Greek New Testament, and so they were going to arrest him and seize all of his property, so he loaded his wife in the wagon and as much of the printing equipment as he could, and he heads out to a safe city, and while he's on horseback, he takes the 1549 Greek New Testament and he marks where he thinks the verses begin and end. And the first time that there are verse divisions in a Bible are the 1557 New Testament and the 1560 Geneva Bible. The people loved the verse divisions, and it had copious notes. It was like the first study Bible. It was also the Bible of firsts because of the fact that it was printed in Geneva, and Bloody Mary had forbidden the printing of the Bible, and it was the Bible of Shakespeare. He quotes it over 3,000 times. And then it's the Bible that Rolfe used to lead Pocahontas to the Lord, and it is the Bible that the Pilgrims brought to America in 1620. Even though the King James Bible had been printed, I've done a lot of research, and there was very few King James Bibles that were brought with the Pilgrims to America.
Protestantism flourished in England, but then Mary came to the throne in 1553, and she wanted to revert England back to Catholicism.
She banned these Bibles being printed.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Didn't she burn out all the Protestants' eyes or something?
Bloody Mary killed over 3,000 Bible believers and people who knew Christ as Savior. She wanted to reimpose Catholicism, and there was probably a lot more, but I'm talking about those that were documented in Fox's Book of Martyrs.
So the Protestants fled to Geneva, which was a refuge for them. And for the first time, really, they translated the entire Bible out of the original languages, Aramaic, Hebrew, and Greek, into an English Bible.
And he's right on that. This is the first Bible, another Bible of firsts, where Hebrew and Aramaic in the Old Testament and the Textus Receptus, traditional text in the New Testament, all of the other Bibles that came previously, the English Bibles, they weren't completely, a lot of them had to translate from the Latin or the German because they either didn't know the languages, but the Geneva Bible is the first Bible that's translated out of the preserved languages, the Hebrew Masoretic text, and then the received text in the New Testament. And so that, again, is one of the firsts of the Geneva Bible. Very accurate translation. The same underlying texts were used in the King James Version of the Bible. And I believe that God didn't stop with the Geneva Bible because of the notes in the column. A lot of people mistook the notes to be inspired by God. And so when King James had the King James Bible translated, there was no notes, only cross-references and word explanation, as opposed to the Geneva Bible.
So for being that old, I mean, it's in pretty good shape, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's got some condition flaws for sure.
Okay. What are you looking to get out of it?
I'm looking for a very modest price, I think. Like $1,600 for it.
Now I want to pause there. This is, if I remember that, it's a 1583. It is in quite poor condition. It has been rebacked, but it's falling apart. I would have to check to see if it's all there. I think the asking price is a little high. I wouldn't give $1,600. I would give about $1,200 for that Bible today. However, if you had the first edition 1560, you're talking about $5,000, depending on the condition, you're talking about $5,000 probably to $7,000 for a first edition 1560 of the Geneva Bible, but a whole lot has to do with condition. I would say, looking at this one, being rebacked, and there have been pages that I don't think were from the original. If you'll look at this is a partial page, if you can see, it's been repaired because part of it's torn. Now, it's all there from Genesis 1, but the title page is missing in this. And if I were to offer for this one in the condition it's in, I would probably give about $4,700 to $5,000 for the 1560. It is all there. It goes all the way through a Revelation and has some of the tables in the back as well. But boy, to get a pristine one, woo, I really love it. But this one is good.
Well, let me give Rebecca a call and have her come down and take a look at it.
Cool, thanks a lot. That can only help me. She's extremely knowledgeable, and she's going to emphasize the importance and history of the Bible to him. I hope that's enough to sway him.
All right, so what is it?
I just don't know. I mean, I know it's a Geneva Bible. I know about Bloody Mary. I know about King Henry. But what a Bible's worth these days, I just don't know.
One thing that we take for granted is that the Bible being translated into English was a revolutionary act for hundreds of years that would get you burnt at the stake. And this revolution affected our English language culture.
I mean, it is kind of funny that they printed it in English in a country where they don't speak English.
They actually used smuggling networks to get it into England. So this was contraband. That said, there's a lot of stuff going on here.
Oh, yeah, it's a complicated book.
That's a very nice way to put it, Adam. First, the obvious thing is we've got the rebacking.
So it's been repaired?
And when he says rebacking, this Bible has been rebacked too. That means that the back had degenerated to the point. It's got the original boards. These are called boards on the front. It's got the original boards here, but this is an all-new spine on it. This one has been rebacked. Now, Bibles that are in original condition that still have their backs, they're worth more. But like I said, this is a 1560, so this is still a good Bible to have, even though it has been rebacked.
Yeah, it's just a front joint repair, looks like.
It's a little bit crude, I admit.
I'm sorry, this repair job, it's so awful.
Now, let's concentrate on the importance of the Bible.
It has the title page. I
On the
saw
one
it.
hand, I like these little notes here.
This was actually a study Bible, and they made little notations in the margins.
So what do you think it's worth?
Okay, I like the provenance, I like the history, but like there's just so many other things that are a problem. I think optimistically, you could try to ask $1,500 for it.
I don't agree with her. I think it would be probably more $1,200 or $1,300. It's in such bad shape, but I couldn't look at the rest. It did have a Old Testament title page. This one doesn't have an Old Testament title page, but you can see here it has the New Testament title page, and down here in Roman numerals, it says 1560. That's the MDLX. That is 1560, which proves that this is the date that it was published.
But
Let's try it this way. Should I buy it?
no.
No? Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm gonna pass.
This is the first time you completely shot me down. I can't believe it.
Well, I'm very thankful for the 3 copies. This is called a quarto size. Now, I have a folio size Geneva, which, speaking of folios, I'm going to reach back here because there's a folio page that we have here. This is a folio page of a King James 1611. And I would, King James 1611 Bibles are very expensive to buy in the folio size. There's not a lot of them around. But to buy one, the cheapest one I've found to buy is about $120,000, and that's out of my budget. But this page actually is in fairly decent shape, but that's the folio size, and the King James 1611 is, of course, very precious to me as one who preaches from the King James Bible today. In fact, being the president of the King James Bible Research Council, we do a lot of research into the King James Bible, its history, and how God has preserved His Word. So to find out a little bit more, I would encourage you to invite you to come to our website. It's kjbrc.org. We have a bunch of videos on there that cover various topics in the history of the English Bible and why we use the King James Version of the Bible. And if you have old Bibles that you want priced, you can get a hold of me. I'm Dr. David Brown, and thank you for letting me join you and share with you some of the values of old Bibles. God bless you. Take care.